I have complicated thoughts on this. So, I mean, obviously, I have selfish interests in the wide availability of data. I mean, scientists need data. And I think we are in this era of computational social science. I think that, look, if you had asked social scientists 20 years ago what powers they dreamed that they would have, they would say, it would be amazing if we could have a little tiny Black Hawk helicopter that could fly above every person and constantly monitor where they are and who they're talking to and what they're buying and what they're thinking. And if you could have millions of these helicopters that flew atop of everybody and every second gave you data, that would be unbelievable.
Nokia built those for
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And of course, that's the data we have now. I mean, we have the ability to understand. I think, without being too over-optimistic, I think the social sciences are on the cusp of a move that's similar to the invention of the microscope or of the telescope, what those did for biology and for astronomy. I think we have a kind of availability of data that will allow us to understand social processes in a whole new way. And this is coupled, of course, with the emergence of all kinds of mathematical innovations and computational innovations and hardware and software innovations, which allow us to analyze and study these data. And many brilliant people are moving into the field, and so you have a lot of smart people working with good data and good methods and good tools, and so we're making progress. But you're right. I mean, I think access to the data is very important. The part that I'm confused by is that I think, on the one hand, it would be great if everyone would voluntarily surrender their data. Now, that's not going to happen, or it will happen sometimes, but not always. I think one possible strategy might be to monetize the data. So if you gave, it's like the strategy when you have big slums in the developing world. One way to clean up the slums is to give people title to their land. So all of a sudden they have an asset, they have a deed that says this little plot of land is yours. That means they don't have to waste energy anymore defending their plot of land, leaving someone at home so that, otherwise people will come and take over their little plot of land. They have no capital with which to borrow against. So when you monetize these holdings, when you create, when you capitalize them, all of a sudden you can create markets and people can buy and sell their land, and you extract the value that was hidden. So I think one possible way forward is to begin to think about giving people title to their own data, and you pay people a little bit of money for the data. Or people say, oh, you have a free credit card if we can analyze your data, otherwise you pay $50 a year, which you do now. And then we'll give you a free card because there's some value. I mean, the credit card companies and others, people could have some value. So now this will create other problems for scientists because some people will have surrendered the data, some won't. But if we're worried about data being proprietary and worried about people keeping data secret, then I think we have to create different incentives to align open data with the public good. Well, actually, another potential model is a model that James and I and Mark Pletcher at the UC system are also working on, which is a kind of, give your data to science. So like how you can give your data, you can give your body to science, to do anatomy dissection or whatever. Well, why don't we create a tool that allows people to give their data to science? So, for example, we've also been talking to Facebook about this. There should be a way for people who are in Facebook or other platforms to voluntarily say, yes, you can use my data. Go and sign up somewhere. And you probably get millions of people. In fact, this is part of a larger movement in the world of citizen science, right? You can have all these people. Earlier, we were talking about earlier, before we started taping, about you got 600,000 people to rate, all these volunteers. And you can have SETI at home where people look for extraterrestrial life, or where people look for the tomb of Genghis Khan, or they're mapping the heavens, or you have all these people volunteering to help. Well, many millions of people would probably voluntarily surrender their data. And if we created the vehicles and the mechanisms for that, and then we would have the tools that we needed to make progress.
Time never really on my side. When I look what I find is only shadows in my mind.